I assume nobody's heard from Councilmember Murillo.
No, I texted her as well, so.
Okay, well, you want to go ahead and get us
Go ahead,
started
start.
then? Okay.
Yeah. All right. We're going to call to order the Public Relations Committee, Tourism, Libraries, Boards and Commissions, Citizen Groups meeting on June 18th. Approval of the minutes.
Yep, minutes
Any
look good to me.
changes?
Look good to
All
me.
right, good to me. So minutes are approved. Any announcements? See none. Consent items done. And I guess we'll go to the new items. Bus rapid transit, public art. The Amber Pixley.
Yep. Hi, guys. Perfect. Well, it's nice to see everyone virtually again. I'm Amber Pixley, the Public Art Program Specialist. So Art in Public Places was asked to give an informational presentation on the selected and improved art for the BRT canopies that will be located at Havana and Colfax. Jazz Holmes was the artist that was selected for the project. You can go to the next slide. So we are working within the parameters given to us by the Denver Aurora BRT project team. The layout for the art, fabrication, and installation is predetermined by that team. But I did want to share the renderings of the canopies with you before I show the designs. So these canopies and the road alignment in these renderings are the way that they'll be in Denver. In Aurora, they will be on the side of the street as they are now. With no change to the bus lanes. The overhead triangular portion provides a structural framework for the glass, and the artwork will be printed on the glass using a diptych technique. You can go to the next slide. There will be two canopies, one on the north and one on the south side of Colfax, and they will be for the eastbound and westbound buses. And you can do the next slide. So for the canopies being located on two roads known for their amazing and culturally diverse restaurants, Jazz focused on cookware and ingredients for those cultures. Her work represents unity through food culture. You can go to the next slide. So for one canopy, Jazz focuses on cookware from the many cuisines, including Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Indian, Ethiopian, Senegalese, Polish, and Thai. The conceptual image shows the background colors, but Jazz said she would be filling in the cookware forms with color. And you can go to the next slide. The second canopy focuses on floral ingredients from those global cuisines. These include orange blossom, peppercorn, saffron, and others. After feedback from the art selection panel, Jazz agreed to fill in more of the blank spaces shown to provide more shade for those using the bus stop. You can go to the next slide. So the total budget for this design is $45,000, which is consistent with Denver's canopies. The company that will be printing the glass requires the designs to be provided in vector format. So Jazz's budget includes that in her breakdown of the costs. And you can go to the next slide. We are in the process of getting the contract finalized with Jazz, and the final design will be finalized in December of this year. There will be shop drawings and samples to approve before the artwork will be completed and installed in mid to late summer of 2027. And that is it, if anyone has any questions.
Thank you for the presentation, Councilmember Gardner. Any questions?
Yeah, so looks great. Just curious, what are the requirements for art on this project? And I'm just, not opposed to it. Just asking kind of in the context, obviously, of expected budget deficits, right?
Roberta, do you want to chime in on this? I know we were asked to provide art for this project, and we're being consistent with the way that Denver's doing it, which is that glass paneling. Oh, and I think you're muted, Roberta.
So Councilmember Gardner, I guess, is the question that you're asking what public art monies were generated by this construction project, or?
Well, I mean, is this just coming out of the general fund or like where, and are we required to provide art? Like I said, I'm just asking in the context of expected budget deficit and, having to make budget cuts and other things, just thinking about that.
So, I honestly, well, it's not coming out of the general fund for one thing. I know that for sure. This is coming out of the Public Art Reserve Fund. There was an agreement between the city of Aurora and the city of Denver regarding the BRT line, and that did include whatever public art monies there were. So we were asked to kind of late to come to the party here and ensure that Aurora was putting its best foot forward in the same manner that Denver would be participating. Aurora only has this one location where there will be these more sophisticated canopies as the bus stops. And so we are just providing the designs for this location. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it sounds like it was part of the BRT agreement that was made. So yeah, it does. Thank you.
Right.
All right, no other questions for me. Is there anything do we need to move? Do we need to make a motion on this to?
No, this one was just informational.
Thank you much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, what's the next agenda item? Is scooting all over.
The historic preservation overview should go first, and then the annual report.
Okay, so go ahead with the Historic Preservation Commission.
The other one, the historic preservation overview. There's
Okay.
2 PowerPoints.
Gotcha.
There we go. Oh, yeah, back it up a little bit. Keep going. There should be an intro slide. There we go. So I'm Chris Geddes. I'm the historic preservation specialist for the city. And it seems like there's a lot of slides, but I'm going to go through them pretty quickly. So if you will go to the next slide. So I was asked to give an overview of historic preservation in Aurora. So I'm not going to read all of this line for line, but just so you know that Aurora is a certified local government. And what that means is we've signed a contract with the National Park Service, and that means we'll pay attention to designating and protecting our historic resources, and that we will identify those properties and allow the public to participate. We became one back in 1986 after the Historic Preservation Commission was formed in 1985. And being a CLG also gives us access to certain grants that are only offered up to CLGs in the state. And then another plus is that any local landmarks in the city, then they qualify for state historical fund grants and for preservation tax credits. So there are financial incentives associated with being a CLG and a local landmark. Next slide. So they jumped right in and created the Historic Preservation Commission and filled those vacancies. There was the creation of an ordinance and the criteria for locally landmarking properties that met that criteria. There are rules of procedure that we still utilize today that are we update occasionally. And at present, we have 34 local landmarks and 5 cultural heritage site designations, and a bunch of them in the works. Next slide. So I'm just going to kind of flip through these pretty quickly. These are just some of the early landmarks. So Melvin Schoolhouse was our number one first ever landmark. Gully House, which you all know at Delaney Farm. Next slide. We have properties associated with William Smith, his house, as well as the school. Next slide. Donald Fletcher, who was our illustrious town founder. The Centennial House is owned by the city, and we actually do have open house hours this weekend. And then the Fuller House is another one of the early Fletcher homes. Next slide. These are just a sampling of our other landmarks. We have a cemetery. We have the Stanley Marketplace, which used to be the aviation factory. Lowry Building 880, which is also on the National Register at the national level of significance for its association with the Air Force Academy, the Hornbein Building, and various residential houses throughout the city. Next slide. So this is just a smattering of some of the things that I'm working on, along with Scott Williams, who's the director of the museum. One of the big ones is the $25,000 CLG grant that we got to update our survey plan. We have our first public outreach meeting on Monday, June 23rd at the Fox Theater. We're working on local landmark nominations as well as cultural heritage site designations, recruiting for vacancies on the HPC. And then I've recently been appointed to the Highline Canal Conservancy Historic Resources Advisory Board. They're working on a context to the canal. And as many of you know, a significant section of the canal runs through Aurora. So they're doing some survey work and oral histories, really interesting, and hope to get some information to do some interpretive panels as part of the project. Next slide. The survey plan update, like I said, is the big one. This is a framework for us to assess our historic resources, see what we should be preserving, what resources matter to people in and around Aurora, and then help us prioritize those areas to survey. So documenting them, taking photos, doing some research on buildings, and that will help us to be proactive rather than reactive with all the growth that's going on in the city. And it also, the report will recommend different funding sources for that survey work. Next slide. These are a few of the local landmark nominations that we're working on right now. We have the Big Top building, which is in Hoffman Heights Shopping Center. We have the Big John Engine, which is from 1955, owned by the fire union. And Mount Nebo is the Jewish cemetery over off of 13th and Peoria, basically. And then the house you see there on the left has an association with housing tuberculosis patients when they couldn't get into hospitals. The woman who owned it took in boarders in the 1920s and 1930s. Next slide. Some recent projects that I've been working on, a lot of stuff out at Delaney Farm. The round barn got a new roof back in January, probably the coldest week of the month that they decided to work on it. But it's just really amazing to see somebody reshingle a conical roof. You don't really see that very often. Next slide. The Gully House got a new coat of paint last summer, had a lot of peeling paint on it. Next up will be the roof for that building. Next slide. Coal Creek School at the north end of Delaney Farm also got a fresh coat of paint. And then the outbuildings, as you can see from that picture of the outhouse, was really in bad shape, and we got them all stabilized, replaced some pieces of wood that had rotted or come off, and fresh coat of paint for all of the outbuildings. So 2 outhouses and then the stable. Next slide. Melvin School, which was local landmark number 1, as you can see, had some window issues, bad roof, and then some rotting siding. Next slide. Cherry Creek School District footed the bill on this one, put a new roof, repaired windows and rotted siding, trimmed back some of the shrubs, and then we added an ADA ramp so that the disabled students at Smoky Hill High School can access the building now, whereas they couldn't before. Next slide. And my favorite and my baby, the Fox Theater sign, we got a State Historical Fund grant for $72,000 to restore the sign back to its original colors, both in paint and in neon. I got the incredible opportunity to help scrape paint off, repaint it, bend glass for the neon. And so if you go to the next slide, you will see it in its glory. Looks fantastic and just welcoming along Colfax now. Next slide. Just some future goals. Going to continue to work out at Delaney Farm. Next year, we'll be working on some of the outbuildings. You can see that chicken coop there. We had a fire in the building. Homeless person had a fire going on New Year's Eve. Luckily, station number 8 responded quickly and we didn't have any severe damage to the building. But some of the other outbuildings, well, we just need to do some maintenance on them. The Puma study, the draft has come out on Colfax Avenue. So there are some properties that will hopefully be paid attention to, like the former bank building on the bottom. That was also determined National Register eligible as part of the Colfax BRT project. There are a phenomenal amount of mid-century modern churches within our city. So trying to create a historic context to document those buildings and some of the architects associated with them, and just increasing the visibility of the Historic Preservation Sites Office so that people know who we are. And as always, recognizing and representing Aurora's diversity, whether we do that through local landmark or cultural heritage site designation. And next slide. Should be the last one. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you for the presentation. Councilmember Gardner?
Yeah, hi Chris. Thanks for your presentation and everything you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Can you tell me, I know you and I visited on this before, but just curious the status, old fire station number 5, where's that at?
That is, I actually was talking to a couple people about it yesterday. I feel like that is a larger conversation. I know we have it mostly ready to go. It's just, I think we need to see, do we have owner support, which is the city, versus like just fire department? Because we know Chief Otten is on board, but we want to make sure that there's kind of been a discussion about, typically we have an owner consent form that's signed for local landmark. And so who would that be? And how do we go about that with a city owned property? So just trying to sort through some of that. I've been in touch with Tim Joyce with legal. I'd be happy to catch you up and see what needs to happen so we can move that forward.
Okay, yeah, great. If there's anything I can do to be helpful, let me know.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Councilman Carver.
And I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
Thank you. No questions for me, so thank you again for the presentation.
Thank you, Councilman Medina. And then we'll go back to the Historic Preservation Commission, and we'll have the chair and the vice chair present this one.
Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, council members and all those that are online. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm having some difficulties with my connection, so if I have to resort to my phone, I will do so. I'm being joined today by our vice chair, Linda Heckendorn, and we're going to kind of tag team the presentation for you today. So, and a lot of this follows from what Chris already presented, but we'll go into a little bit other detail from the perspective of the commission. So next slide, please. So I won't read over all of this to you, but I just wanted to kind of talk about the HPC's mission, which is to protect and preserve Aurora's heritage through education, advocacy, and training as mandated by the Aurora's Historic Preservation Ordinance. We've done that through a lot of outreach and education to the community. And we also have initiated some recruitments of new folks to get onto our commission. We've also have several subcommittees that have been looking at things like advocacy and outreach and landmarking. And so that's also been a big part of what we try to do. And we're very active as a commission on those initiatives. And we are desiring to, collaborate with others, organizations, and other departments within the city. And we'd like to also invite any commissioners that are here present today or throughout the whole council to consider joining us on one of our meetings. And likewise, we'd be happy to join you at any of your ward meetings as well. So next slide.
Hi, I'm Linda Heckendorn, and I'm going to tell you about our site visits and that we like to attend presentations. So on the bottom left there, the Cactus Motel sign from the motel on Colfax is now in the Aurora History Museum. And we had Colfax expert Johnny Barber came and gave a presentation about Colfax in Aurora because he does the entire Colfax. And then on the upper right, we went to Maury's Neon to learn about neon while the Fox Theater sign was being restored. And we went on a tour of the KOA building on East Colfax. Next slide, please. On the left is the Senex site. That's one of our new landmarks. It's a Native American archaeological site near the Aurora Reservoir. And then the Jamaica Primary School is a mid-century design, and it is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. So it also became a local landmark, a local historic landmark, excuse me. And next slide. We have some cultural heritage sites. We have the Colorado Freedom Memorial, and the newest one we've elected, I guess you'd say, is the Elijah McClain mural on, it's near Colfax.
And another one that we did was the what's called the Thunder Tree, but it's actually for the Sand Creek Lateral. The Sand Creek Lateral, of course, is a connection off of the Highline Canal, and is still prominently seen through Del Mar Park today. The other significance of that particular location is this tree grove of cottonwoods, which is known as the Thunder Tree. The noted environmentalist and author and historian of sorts, Robert Pyle, was famously wrote this book. If you're not familiar with it, it has a lot of great anecdotal information about early history of the Del Mar Park area and Hoffman Heights. Him growing up in this tree was a place where he kind of sought refuge as a young boy with his friends at one of those great thunderous rainstorms, and he kind of sought shelter behind this tree, which kind of more or less saved his life. And that tree's kind of gone on, and these are the progenitors of that tree. But we've designated this as a cultural heritage site, and we'll talk more about it here in a minute. But we're hoping to do some signage related to that and the Sand Creek Lateral and its significance to the city. So next slide. As Linda said, we like to do a lot of gatherings. We also like to do a lot of trainings for our members. And so we have consistently sent folks to Colorado Preservation Inc.'s Saving Places conference. And we regularly attend those meetings to try to make sure that we're following best practices as followed across the state and across the nation. We're always encouraged to do webinars, both hosted by History Colorado staff who help coordinate things statewide, as well as national organizations such as the National Association for Preservation Commissioners, which holds some very good key educational webinars for our members. So education is very helpful for what we do. Next slide, please. I think as Chris briefly mentioned, we've been very active these past years, and this all kind of started in January 2024. We had a retreat with our commission members and a consultant who went over some of our goals and objectives that we wanted to start working on for the next 5 years, and find out what was working, what was not working. And we hope that this kind of lays the groundwork for us to not only build things now, but into the future. And part of that is the completion of our survey plan, which Chris mentioned to you earlier. So next slide, please.
Okay, this is the golf shelter at Fitzsimmons, and we've been working for a long time to try and get it moved. It's going to be eventually moved to the Spring Hill Golf Course. And unfortunately, the Beck Recreation Center is being demolished, and so that has put this project kind of delayed it, or put it on the back burner until the people who are going to move it can have more time to do that. Next slides, please. These are some of our potential cultural heritage sites. The former Cooper Theater, which is located at Iliff and Chambers, is now a church, but the building itself, we're going to try and get that listed as a cultural heritage site. The VFW post out on East Colfax, sort of near the RKO building. We're working on that, and it should be, we should give them their plaque in November. And then the Aurora Mall, or the Town Center at Aurora, is having their 50th anniversary this year, and HPC will present a plaque to them. Next slide,
Linda,
please.
Linda, I hate to interrupt, but
Oh.
the Cooper Theater is now an Ethiopian church, and that one is a go. I met with the folks last week, and so we're going to be working on that
Okay.
designation. Yep.
Good, thank you. Next slide, please. There you go.
Great. Yeah. So as I mentioned already, the Sand Creek Lateral Highland Canal, and Chris is very active working with that group. We're hoping to do some signage to again educate the public about the importance of that historic resource, as well as its relationship to Robert Pyle and his book. And as I mentioned earlier, we like to partner with a lot of different folks. In particular, we've done enormously good communication and coordination with pros and their staff, as well as with International Immigrant Affairs, Housing and Community Services, Planning Department, and of course, the Library and Cultural Services Department as well. We're very fortunate that we have the whole city really supporting our efforts, and we really appreciate it immensely. Next slide, please. So as we've mentioned a little bit, some of the projects that we're working on is, to increase those landmarks, to increase our cultural heritage sites, as well as part of this survey grant or survey that we're trying to do, the survey plan that we're trying to do and put together. That's a really important piece that we're trying to get done this year. We're also, looking to see how we can educate and do more outreach to the community about all of these different properties that we have. We want to encourage, as much diversity as we can within our commission, and the diversity of our properties that we're also trying to preserve, and trying to get more people engaged and connected to their heritage here in Aurora. Next slide, please. And that's it. We really like to thank the staff, Chris Geddes and Scott Williams, who've really supported the commission's work over the last years, and we really couldn't do what we do without them and their guidance and support. So appreciate that. Linda, any other thoughts or words of encouragement?
Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Yes, if you have any questions, please.
Gardner.
Yeah, one question for me, and maybe it's a two-parter, but when a building is designated as historic, what limits does that place on updates and things like that? And then I guess the second part of it, and I think Chris answered this in her presentation, but I know one of the issues that Denver has dealt with are hostile historic designations where the owner doesn't have, or they don't have owner's consent. So, I mean, do we always get owner consent? Like, what does that look like? So I guess a two-parter.
Can I answer that? Is that okay, Todd?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so we have an owner consent form, and that's the first thing we have to get before we start any kind of designation, because if we don't have owner consent, we will not proceed. We would never expect council to approve a local landmark designation if there isn't owner support and consent for it. And then as far as like changes to buildings, you know, the idea is to preserve the building, but to preserve the character defining features as well as keep the building in use. And so the examples, you know, to throw out are Stanley Marketplace, like that's a landmark. They got $2 million in tax credits, and yet they've been able to, you know, make some changes to the building. The Fox Theater is another great example. In 2003, the HPC approved the Studio Theater Edition on the building. We've approved also some security grills for the two side exits because there's been problems with, unfortunately, with homeless people camping out there and then setting fires. So, you know, that went through the process and we reviewed it and approved it. I'm trying to think what else. You know, it's the point isn't to keep the building in a bubble. It's more to make sure that it's actively used by the community. So there is definitely wiggle room for appropriate changes.
Got it. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. I don't know if my question's with you guys or who else, but have we done any like major, do we do tours over at Delaney Farm at all? And if so, do we charge? Just curious about that.
I can answer that. We do have,
yeah, go ahead.
we have open houses at Delaney Farm. And in fact, we have one this Sunday morning. And this summer, we're actually doing one open house each month. Normally, we just do one in the summer and then one in December for around the holidays. Pros has recently returned the yellow farmhouse back to Library and Cultural Services and to the museum specifically. We are looking at doing tours, so we're working on creating a group of docents who can give tours out there on a regular basis. And we are going to be staffing the yellow farmhouse consistently, not only for presence, but to be able to, you know, answer questions if people stop through, want to see the barn, want to see the gully house, that we are able to accommodate that.
Yeah, and have we had quite a bit of issues around unhoused over in that area?
It goes in cycles. It's definitely, it happens a lot more in the winter, obviously when it's cold. And we have a number of loafing sheds that are open on one side, so there's really no way to keep people out. And so they put a tent in there. The problem is when they set a fire to try and keep warm, and there's a roof over their heads. And so that has kind of been an issue. And we've had people using the outhouses at Coal Creek School, even though they have concrete pads and no seats or holes or anything. And so we had to put padlocks on those to keep people out. Pros is good that if we do see a heightened activity, that they will patrol the farm a lot more often, you know, at least twice a day, and make sure they're kind of getting folks the help that they need, especially if it's really cold, trying to get them to a warmer facility.
Thank you.
And I should add, you also mentioned charges at Delaney. We don't charge for tours at Delaney.
Okay.
Or Centennial House.
All right.
Any other questions? Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
None.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda. That's it for missing items for consideration.
None from staff today.
Anticipated topics for next meeting is that the Sisquins. I'll let you guys say that.
America and
Vasquez
Colorado's
semiquincentennial.
birthday. Well, I'll stay away. from
Roberta
that
can
anymore.
say it like super fast 5 times in a
can.
row.
Yes, we'll be providing an update on that to the committee and possibly a couple other topics.
Thank you. Next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, July 16th. Is that at 3 p.m.? Does that still work for you, Councilmember Gardner?
Works for me.
All right, works for me as well. All right. Well, thank you all for the information, and this meeting will be adjourned.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.